I've been using the AirPods Pro for a year and I've learned a lot about these wireless earbuds. So 1 year on, am I still using them? And what do I think of them now? To me, the AirPods Pro are really the jack of all trades when it comes to wireless earbuds. They're great for calls, they're balanced for listening to music, and they perform really well, especially if you're already in the Apple ecosystem. So in this long-term review, I want to cover everything from the all-important sound quality to battery life and how they're holding up now a year later, as well as the extra features that weren't originally available at the time of release. So let's talk about sound quality, one of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to wireless earbuds, and to me it's probably the most important part of any review. Now the AirPods Pro, if you've also been using them over the past little while, you probably realize that they have a fairly neutral sound profile. They're not too overwhelming on anything from mids, trebles to bass. If anything, the bass is not quite as punchy as some other wireless earbuds out there. Now this makes them really balanced for doing things like jumping between calls and listening to music. But overall, when I'm listening to music, I do like to tweak the sound profile a little bit in an equalizer. Now, unfortunately, the AirPods Pro don't have an equalizer that comes with the actual headphones themselves, either in the control center or anything like that. So what I usually do is open up an app like Spotify or Apple Music, for example, and then tweak the equalizer to give it just a little bit more punch. I like a little bit more bass in my music especially. So that's how I've decided to get a little bit more out of the sound of the AirPods, more so than the default sound settings. I've also been experimenting with an app called Sound ID, and this one is actually tailored to your preferences and also a bit of a hearing test depending on what you can actually hear to change the sound profile accordingly. It does make the AirPods sound a little bit more dynamic overall, and I've been primarily using that app when I've been listening on a desktop. Now, the active noise cancellation on the AirPods Pro has always been really, really good, and back in the time when I was doing a lot more traveling, say on planes, for example, I really appreciated having active noise cancellation in such a small package as well. And it was fairly effective, and I really did find it do a great job of blocking out the sounds of the external world. Now, being at home, I haven't really been able to use ANC as much as I was previously in my commuting and traveling life, but I still do find it really valuable and very effective when I really need to focus. You might remember I did a video 3 months on with the AirPods Pro, 3 months after they came out, and I said this. Transparency mode, I think, is one of those things that you're either going to really love and use it all the time, and I'm in the camp that I used it once or twice and I just found it kind of disorienting because the microphone is picking up the external sound to bring it in. I think it's useful if you're in a situation, if you are a person that never wants to take these out, you can just press and hold and activate transparency mode whenever you need it, but I like to take them out of my ears because sometimes after an extended use, they're not that comfortable for me. Oh, honestly, I feel like those Billie Eilish Vanity Fair videos where she looks back at what she said a year ago and she just cringes. That is me right now watching that clip because I completely disagree with what I said then. And funnily enough, it kind of took a pandemic for me to realize how valuable transparency mode was, working from home, really needing to hear my surroundings. The transparency mode on the AirPods Pro is excellent, and I really wish that I appreciated it earlier, but look, better late than never. One of the other real surprises was the addition of spatial audio to the AirPods Pro on the release of iOS 14. Now, this is compatible with video apps, Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus, of course, and watching videos that have surround sound. You can hear it in your ears. You can also toggle it off a setting in the control center so you can actually hear what it sounds like on or off. It does make a pretty significant difference when you are doing something like watching a movie, particularly something that is kind of dialogue/action heavy. I really noticed the difference, and I thought it was a really cool addition, especially the fact that we didn't know that this feature was there at the time of release a year ago. So it was a nice extra bonus. That said, I still don't think the AirPods Pro, even 1 year later, are the best sounding wireless earbuds out there. I definitely wanted to get the opinion of our chief headphone reviewer, David Carnoy, to see what he thinks and where the AirPods stand in relation to all of the competition. So you've been using the AirPods Pro as long as I have, for about a year. So I want to know, are you still using them regularly?
I do, and I think in terms of the big thing for me is their design. I obviously use a lot of true wireless earbuds. I also have done a slight modification to the AirPods Pro. I did get some foam tips, and that can make a difference for some people. That helps with both sound, noise canceling, and everything. Oh, you got them too. You got them too, huh?
I got them too. I only just came over to, I guess, the dark side, literally, with the foam tips too, because I had pretty much exactly the same problem as you. They were constantly falling out when I was doing anything remotely active. So this does provide a slightly better seal for my ears. So I have like very small ear canals. Are you on the opposite end of the spectrum? Do you need the largest sort of tips?
Yes, I have weird ears, I've been told, and, but I usually need the biggest tips, XL if possible. So that some people with the AirPods Pro actually have one ear with the medium tip, one ear with the large tip. So it's always better to get the tighter seal.
How do you think the AirPods Pro compare now, given the current crop of true wireless earbuds that have come out, like ones from Bose and Sennheiser, for example?
I mean, I think the AirPods were always decent sounding, true wireless earbuds. They're open sounding. They're not particularly detailed or have particularly great definition in the bass, but they're good sounding, and for a lot of people, that's fine. If you want to step up to the next level, you really have to go with something like the Sennheiser. I have those here as well. We gave these an editor's choice, and they do sound better. And more recently, there's the Bose, and these sound really good too. They have just a lot more bigger sound, clearer, all those things, and they just have they have bigger drivers, and you can only do so much with what you have in that design of the AirPods Pro. And that really, again, is one of the most appealing parts of them, is how light they are. And for a lot of people, they sound good enough. The noise canceling is good enough. So they're fine for a lot of people. Want that extra bit of noise canceling? The Bose definitely have the best noise canceling right now.
How much of a difference did you find that spatial audio made to your listening experience?
It's anything that it can actually convert some stereo tracks. It's better for 5.1 surround or better. It even does Atmos. And I think it's a strange sensation, because it feels like if you have your phone in front of you, it feels like the audio is really in front of you, and it just gives a different feel to the audio. I mean, it is tricking your ears into making, it is virtual surround, so it isn't going to be as good as a real true home theater surround. But it's definitely something, especially when you first experience, sounds really cool.
The other addition that I really appreciate is quick switching between different Apple devices that are all signed into the same iCloud or Apple ID. That's actually pretty useful when I'm swapping between, say, computer and phone, or phone, tablet, and so on. And I also really like the iOS 14 update is the battery widget, so I can quickly just see at a glance the battery level of the AirPods Pro. So let's talk about battery life. I think 1 year later, after having used them, I think that's probably the area in which I'm probably the most sad about. They don't quite hit the same 4.5 to almost 5 hours of listening time that I was getting out of them using active noise cancellation. Now, a year later, I'm getting maybe 3.5 at most, usually around 3 hours of listening time on average. This sort of battery issue is pretty standard across wireless earbuds. I just still wish that they were giving me the same life as they were straight out of the box. But everything else has been really, really good about using the AirPods Pro over an extended period of time. For example, the durability and build performance I have zero complaints about. I've dropped these numerous times. They sometimes fall out of my ears, especially when I'm flicking my hair back or changing clothes, or even when I had the silicone tips on and they weren't creating the tightest seal, they did often fall out, and dropping them on the ground continuously, they still work fine to this day. So I would love to hear your experiences if yours have been as durable as mine have been as well. I'm super excited to see what the rumored AirPods Studio headphones are going to be like, and maybe potentially if some extra features will trickle down to the AirPods Pro, namely a first-party equalizer. Please, I would love that so much. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been useful for you in working out how the AirPods Pro perform in a long-term ongoing basis. If you have thoughts about your own AirPods Pro or any questions for me that I didn't answer, let me know in the comments below. See ya!